Hi, Desiree. Well, today we're coming from the UJ campus. As you can see, it's quite windy here. We're coming from the UJ campus in Soweto, where the second leg and the last leg of the South African Annual Investment Conference is taking place. At around 10 a.m., the president made a closing speech where he spoke quite dearly about how much support is needed for entrepreneurs and small businesses, and that there's a lot of things that government will be doing over the course of the coming months, which includes making sure that they strengthen the Competition Amendment Act, making sure that grants are going to be tax exempt, making sure that they'll also be simplifying the tax regime. But I thought it would be prudent for us to talk about the competition landscape as well as investment, how small businesses fit into the picture. This is why I've invited the Deputy Commissioner at the Competition Commission, Mr. Hadin Rachisusu, to speak to us about how small businesses can take advantage of an investment climate and where competition fits in. Mr. Rachisusu, thank you so much for your time. Do educate us. Where does the Competition Commission or the competition law in general fit in with investment?
No, it is quite important, especially in the context of this conference, where government is trying to crowd in investments into South Africa. Why competition is important? We need to ensure that as we attract companies, the large firms, as they expand into markets, they should not squeeze out our small and medium-sized enterprises. We also need to ensure that these investments benefit the small and medium-sized enterprises. And I think the president has been talking about this and is quite sharp on this and quite clear. And it's a clarion call for all public entities, funders, government to start looking at ways and means to promote entry and access to markets by small and medium-sized enterprises. And that, to us, in the long run, will promote competition, will improve access to markets for the benefit of consumers and all of us in the country.
Are there clauses in the upcoming Competition Amendment Act that will help you to move this process faster in making sure that the bigger guys don't squeeze out the smaller guys, as we say?
Indeed, the new package of the Competition Amendment Act introduces various prohibitions against dominant firms. So these firms now, it will be prohibited. In fact, the president is talking about payment terms. It's going to be prohibited for dominant firms to impose unfair trading practices on small firms, including payment terms. So it's going to be a serious contravention of the law. It's not just going to be a Public Procurement Bill that will deal with that. The Competition Act is designed to deal with these issues, issues of buyer power. You know that the big buyers, like retailers, they squeeze small businesses as they supply to them. What the Competition Act is to do is to equalize the market, to ensure that whatever terms that are granted to the big guys must also be available to the small firms, so that we see a thriving SME sector in the country. And this is what we need to improve and grow our economy.
Let's quickly talk about mergers and acquisitions in big firms, and how you see those that have particularly, put up their hand and said they want to invest. How are you going to enforce that the rules are still stuck to when they decide to merge and acquire other, whether it's medium or small businesses or other big businesses?
Your viewers will know this, and this is quite important. So this is one function where we look at over 400 major transactions in a year. So the Competition Commission is one of the gateways to investment in South Africa. We have had large transactions. AB InBev acquired SABC Miller. What do we do in merger regulation? We ensure that when firms become big, firstly, they do not gain market power to the detriment of consumers in the country. They also should ensure participation of small businesses in their value chains. And the SABC Miller transaction, Walmart, Massmart, you will know, we have imposed conditions such that they even start supply development programs to support small businesses.
Mr. Rachisusu, I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave it there, but thank you for your insight. I really appreciate it. And I know that I'd have to hand over to the studio. Back to you, Desiree.
Tandom Koli, a quick parting shot.
The view from the top of the world is great, and long may we stay there.
Thank you so much for your analysis this morning.